Hello everyone, this is Allie. I am a co-author on Jaguar Medicine, and I am here to read my chapter to you. Just to tell you a little bit about me, I am a holistic healer. I'm a Reiki master. I am a certified crystal healer, and I help women out of abusive situations, and I start the process of healing what has been damaged through domestic violence. So my chapter is called The Rising of the Sun. And let's see. Many things have happened to me along this road I have walked. They have been both good and bad alike. There have been many lessons learned. I have sat alone in grief, in heartache, in absolute agony. I have wished my life away from the pain that has been caused from the soul contracts that I have signed up for. I have been separated from people and locked inside a house, unable to open any doors or windows. Like the tomahawk that suddenly and without any apologies separates a branch from its mother, the tree, I have been unceremoniously cut away from family and friends, living alone except the abuser that so horrendously tormented me and my children. I have been left for dead twice in my life. The first time, with my older children's father. He was in the middle of an abusive episode on Thanksgiving in our newly purchased townhouse. He threw me and my middle child, who was barely 2 months old, into an unlit fireplace. And after I recovered from that, he grabbed me and threw me backwards into my infant's playpen. Thank goodness he was not in it. The second time, I was in an argument with my younger children's father. As I was walking away from him, he grabbed me by my throat and body slammed me into the ground. I lay there, paralyzed, after what I can only describe as a little electric shock shot through my body. Both of these times, they just walked away and were unconcerned for my welfare after the damage they had caused. My children have been ripped from me for no other reason than their father felt like it. My name dragged through the mud at the hands of an alcoholic/drug abuser. He has projected upon me his feelings, called me an alcoholic, a drug user, and told the courts that I spend my nights drunk in a bar, when I have only seen the inside of a bar twice in my life. I have seen public warfare at the hands of those who tormented me. I have had to defend myself countless times against false accusations, outright lies, and a sociopath who has been out to hurt me in every way possible since the day I met him. These lessons and many more that I have had to endure helped me to my destiny. The road that we travel, though it may seem hard and discouraging, always has a way of showing us exactly what we need to see when we need to see it. I am thankful for these lessons, for they have shown me the way to my purpose, my destiny, and my life's work. I have had to learn to trust my inner self and to distinguish my inner knowing. To learn how to hear that little tiny voice inside my head going off like little alarm bells that are ringing, warning me against something or someone, or pulling me towards something or someone. I have learned my place in this world and have gained the safety and knowledge of where I belong. It's as if a permanent TP has been set up inside my head, where I can go, clean the cobwebs, sweep the dirt, open the windows, and continue my journey in my own safe haven. Some place where my meditations happen when I'm all alone, and the birds sing their beautiful morning song. Waking up my soul. It's as if my soul passed through the depths of winter, kissed by the Great Spirit of Wakantanka, and flown on the wings of the eagle to the world that is unseen. In this place between worlds, I have learned to trust myself. I have been transformed by the Great Spirit. I have gone inwards and started the work that needs to be done. The more I sat with what is, the more understanding I was given. The more I was able to honor my path and start walking in the moccasins of another. I learned to sit in meditation in the great unknown, the vast space between here and everywhere. I have learned to feel okay with not knowing what will happen. The not controlling every little detail, I learned to surrender. I learned how to free fall from the precipice of a cliff of my own making and trust that there would be someone there waiting for me on the other side. Archangel Michael is my constant companion who walks beside me, making sure that I don't fall too far from one side to the other. I learned to feel the emotions of a scared, traumatized 8-year-old molested by her great uncle, knowing that she had survived into adulthood and was now making peace with her past. I learned to love and forgive my abuser and send love and healing. Looking back as a 29-year-old woman, I learned how to hold that sacred little girl who I left alone in a darkened bedroom with no light on except for what was coming through the cracked door. I let her know that all would be okay and that she grew up safe and that she was very loved. The doors that were once swinging wide open to my abusers were now tightly closed. My soul felt better after I let these energies go. I had begun to let go of that rope that I had been holding on to so tightly while dangling over that precipice, which had burned my hands so bad. The scar started healing slowly, and then by leaps and bounds. Those opportunities I thought I had missed were really blessings. I couldn't see through the ever-thinning veil. A walk through the woods. My soul started to realign itself to where I needed to be, the path that I had chosen before I was born. In 2017, my healing started in earnest. My soul started growing and healing immensely. The gifts that I had been born with and had locked away for so long were coming back, and my soul started to repair the black holes and tears in it that I had allowed to suppress my soul's growth for so long. I learned the sacred tools and rituals needed for my soul's evolution. I learned to sage myself and others in the way that so many of my ancestors did before me. I learned to use the crystals from the earth as the soul-healing gifts that God had given the people of the earth to use. I learned to dance to the music of my soul and sing the song that was meant for me. I learned about sacred oils and resins and their many uses in healing. I also learned of the sacred plants that were put here so that we could use them as medicine and to aid in our healing and soul growth. These sacred tools are meant for us to learn about, use, and work with in our daily lives. I learned to listen to the sounds of the universe, to see what was hidden, to hear the messages so subtle that one may easily miss them. I hear the songs that are channeled in my mind, the lyrics that speak to my soul, the flutter of a butterfly's wings and the cawing of a crow. Everything became a message and a hidden meaning meant for my soul's growth, and I hungered for more. I had started manifesting my new life. I dreamed of someone that I would never fall out of love with, no matter what. I wanted to love someone so unconditionally, through the pain, through the heartache, through all the good and all the bad. I wished to be able to align my soul to all that is right in the world and to learn a new way to live. After all, what I had been doing previously was not working. I started imagining what I wanted in someone to love. I wanted a cowboy, kind of country guy who was in the military. I learned to wish through love and not fear. One day I had finally found him, and he was everything I could see in my mind's eye. However, he did not stay. He left, as military men are wont to do. However, I did get my wish. I learned to love unconditionally. I learned to heal myself through love and turn that love in on myself instead of outward to the world. After all, one must first learn to love oneself before they can purely and properly love someone else. In finding my twin flame, which transcended all 3D knowing and understanding, I learned to think and believe in the infinite more than I ever had. The journey through twin flame was hard. It brought me to my knees in tears and pain and loneliness. My world was definitely shaken and put on a new path forever. I liken it to the Hunger Games. When the game maker shook up the games and threw Katniss off her current path, sending her into a whirlwind of confusion as she desperately tried to reorient herself in the games. It was like the earth underneath me was shaken, spun around, and left me dizzy. I could not, for the life of me, figure out what was happening to me and why. I was trying to anchor myself to my twin, which seemed like the most natural thing to do, and I could not understand why he pulled me in just to push me away again. This connection was highly spiritual and intimacy felt as if we were in an angelic realm. I had never felt more connected to another human being. Our souls sat in sacred communion, one with the other, and it seemed in communion with God. It was beyond anything I could at the time describe. I had entered into the world of radical healing, where I learned to connect to body, mind, and spirit, and transcend through time and dimension. After our chance meeting one day in a park, Archangel Raphael came to me one dark night while asleep on my couch. When I awoke, he was crouched down in front of me, and I jumped back as if scared. However, there were no feelings of fear whatsoever in my body. I am completely convinced that he was speeding up the soul healing that was about to take place. As soon as I woke up, he reached out, his hand in front of my face, and gently blew a gold dust into my face, effectively putting me back to sleep. The following morning, I knew that I had to start. It was time to take my first steps, like a toddler just learning how to walk. There were many obstacles that I needed to face, and many things I needed to overcome. I had no idea which way to turn. However, just as I asked for guidance from an unknown source that I knew was there, but did not know how to find, he showed up. I would find a new teacher, or a new opportunity would appear in front of me. There was always a new way of learning. Something exciting and new would catch my interest and would lead me down some fascinating rabbit hole. I was in this 3D world, but I was no longer really a part of it. I had always felt like I was part of a dream world ever since I was a child. Now that dream world was really and truly a part of my reality. It was a narrow path on my journey to self-discovery and self-empowerment. Every twist and turn in the road was a twist or turn that I had to navigate carefully and with great thought. A new game of chance. There was a new game being played in my life. No longer was I playing checkers. I was playing chess, and I was learning to become a master. Every meditation I did, every womb healing, every time I lit sage and connected with God on an infinite level, I raised my vibration ever higher. It was as if I was looking down on my life from a hot air balloon, the view ever changing. With every change of scenery, there was another adventure to tackle, another risk to take. I was fearless, afraid of nothing. I was focused on my healing with one eye on the prize, though I did not yet know what that was. I did, however, trust in the power of my divine creator, and knew that, though I may not be aware of the plan, there was a plan for me, and it would all unfold precisely when and how it was supposed to. My life was no longer as complicated as I had once thought it was. No longer did I seem like the small-town girl who naively jumped at any chance that was presented to her. I now had the discernment gained from my experiences. I walked a more conscious path and chose whom I did and did not want to associate with. There was a new simplicity to life, a new way of living, and one that I sought out on a daily basis. I finally realized that my body is a temple, and I had been allowing it to be disrespected for far too long. It is the new Ark of the Covenant, a sacred place tucked away, waiting for me to remember that I was in fact a divine being. Like a sacred priestess readying herself for ceremony, lighting the candles clockwise and praying over each candle as it is lit. Ceremoniously dressing in long flowing robes with my hair flowing down past my shoulders. I worked hard to get my body and soul back into working order, to heal the rips and tears that were so violently put on my soul. The years of relentless tears and heartache started to ease, and I again looked forward to each new day as if it were Christmas morning. I learned that the secret of manifestation was to set an intention and then forget about it. As funny as this sounds, I have watched things manifest in my life using this technique. When you ask for what you ask for will be delivered to you through your faith alone. It reminds me of when Jesus said, "By your faith alone are you healed." Jesus did not heal people. The magic was through him, and through the person's belief in Jesus' healing power alone, they were healed. Jesus taught us to love, and through this love came healing in a magical form. My inner Dakini was coming out, leading me along my spiritual path and bringing out my spiritual gifts. Unbeknownst to me at the time, I was on a mission to help other hurt souls find their own healing and peace through the gifts that have been bestowed upon me. I started working with the light rays of the Archangel, each ray for a different angel. Blue for Michael, yellow for Raphael, pink for Samuel, white for Gabriel, green for red for Uriel, purple for Zadkiel. I also started working with the violet flame of Saint Germain. Working with the Ascended Masters and the Archangels really turned my life around, and I started watching the transformation take shape. Things had happened before, and I had not understood why suddenly became clear. I understood the whys and hows of the lessons that were mine to learn. I saw why a certain person was in my life. I saw the lessons clearly through my third eye, and I suddenly had a clear knowing. It was like the floodgates had opened for me, and suddenly everything that I had been through was one big epiphany moment of clarity. The energy of release was flowing through me as I stepped into my sacred feminine power. This was a journey of my heart, and love came pouring forth. As I searched, I uncovered secret treasures in every nook and cranny. I visited faraway places and met fellow travelers traversing the same road as me. I became a vessel sailing down a sacred river of manifestation and healing. Along my path, there were others who told me I was a light worker, someone here to break old patterns and to show the way to others who were in need of healing and to help on their own paths to awakening. I always thought it was a weird thing for someone to say to me. After all, I was basically a nobody from nowhere and definitely taking the path less traveled. The first time someone ever told me that I was a light worker was when I went to a psychosomatic therapist at the insistence of my abuser. He tried to convince me that there was something wrong with me and that I needed to seek counseling, something he has insisted upon to this day. She touched me, and the first thing I remember her saying was, "You're one of us." At the time, I was stuck in the confines of a completely traditional, strict Catholic upbringing. Needless to say, this scared the hell out of me. I was convinced that this lady was the devil, and the only way for me to survive was to run as fast as my little legs could carry me. I think she was sent to start waking me up. After that, I looked up what she meant and started to devour everything I could. I couldn't help it. My interest was piqued. Because I knew that I was meant for something more than working at a call center picked for me by my abuser so that he could keep tabs on me through his brother who also worked there. With the help of my guides and fellow travelers, I know that I am on my way. I am on the right track and the train has already departed. I sit strong in the knowledge of my healing and pass along what I know to others. I turn to Denise, my soul's guide, to teach me which way to go and how to grow. I yearn for the next big epiphany and the purging of the old wounds. I learn to work with the Shekinah within myself, to shine my light without apology, energy flowing freely from my crown to my palms of my hands and out through my feet. Through these experiences of tumult, I learned of my inner strength. One doesn't know what they can do until they are forced, with no choice but to do it. Most of the time, this is happenstance. One cannot know that they are going to suddenly and forcefully be thrust into positions where their own inner strength can move mountains. These experiences have helped me to realize my own power, my own strength and inner knowing. Mother Gaia has protected me from all that is harmful to me, and I walked my path knowing I am protected as I wander the path to help others heal. There have been times that I have tried to force healing. I have learned to let things heal naturally. Sometimes one part of me is ready to let go, while another is still holding on. I have learned to be gentle with myself during times of healing. The energy will release when every part of my body, mind, and soul is ready. All I need to do is allow the release to happen and trust that it will, when it is ready. Trust that what you need is about to happen for you, and that you are taken care of no matter whether you know the answers or not. Ground yourself into the roots of Mother Gaia and learn to listen to the message she has for you. I embrace the Jaguar within me and within you, and honor our paths as spiritual beings creating our realities. When we turn kindness and compassion into ourselves, we are then able to also consciously turn it out into the world, and working together, shine the light into the world, creating healing cavities and spreading love with each other. Thank you for reading my chapter with me. I do have, I will post in the comments, I have a journal prompt to self-healing. So I will post that in the comments below. Hi, Melissa. I love you too. So I will definitely post that in the comments. Thank you so much for spending time with me. And I hope you guys have a great night.